Today we are joined by the Safe team, Aaron and Chris. They're going to do a demo for us. They're going to spin up a Gnosis or a safe, previously Gnosis safe, now safe, for free as part of the ongoing campaign, where all transactions are sponsored for Gnosis chain users. So for just a little bit of shared context, I'll run through some stuff real quick, and then Chris and Aaron, they'll share their screen and they will run through the demo. So this is actually the first Living on Chain event that Gnosis Chain is doing. So this will happen once a month, and basically it's an event where we'll bring on an external team who are building a dApp, and they'll show you how to basically live on chain, so that you don't have to depend on any third-party intermediaries, and you can live your life as a centralization maxi that you are. And we'll talk with cool teams building on Gnosis chain. So for today, last week the Safe team announced that all users of Gnosis chain can execute sponsored transactions until April 13th, 2023. In the 24 hours that they made that announcement, over 500 safes were created with over 1,000 transactions relayed. The campaign is made possible by Gelato's One Balance relay system, and I believe there might be a Gelato team member in the audience today, and if they'd like to come up, we're more than happy to have that happen. So yeah, with that, let's kick it over to Chris and Aaron. Guys, thanks so much for making the time to join us today. And if you want to share your screen and run through a demo, we'd love to see what's going on with your mobile app and the desktop app. So go for it.
Hi, John. Thanks for the lovely introduction. I'm Aaron. I'm with the Safe team. I work on the web interface. So I'm going to demonstrate for you guys how our relaying system works on the web UI. Hopefully you can see everything. So over the past month, we've been working on implementing relaying so that you can avoid gas fees for safe creation and safe transactions. And I'm going to walk through our kind of user flow for creating a safe and showcasing a transaction as well. So hopefully some of you know what a safe is, but for today we'll walk through the process. This site on my screen here is the website greeted with when you access our domain, and here we allow you to create or add a safe. So for the purpose of today, we'll say that I don't have any current safes, but I have my MetaMask connected to the interface. Relatively easy. You can click create a new safe, and we walk through the flow of adding a safe to the interface, creating it, so to speak. Here we can name our safe. I'll call it relay safe, and then we are able to add certain users to a safe, as you do with the normal safe creation. For today, we'll just add my wallet, and the magic really happens when we come to our final review. So here's an overview of the safe that we're about to create on Gnosis Chain, with the owner, which is my wallet. Normally, we would be paying gas. Here we can see some XDAI. However, Gnosis Chain have sponsored our transactions for the next month. As John was saying, we can do up to 5 safe creations per hour. Normally, when you would click next here, you'd start a safe creation and have to sign and create a transaction and pay for it. But when I click the button, everything will happen for us via Gelato's executors. We can see here that the transaction is already being executed. I haven't had to sign anything with my wallet. The transaction is being validated on chain, and all of this is happening in real time without us having to have paid any gas. So relatively quickly, it's already been executed, and we have a safe. So there we can see that there was no required in order to create this safe at all.
Hey, Aaron,
On the
is it Sorry, is it possible to reshare your screen and reduce your streaming resolution just because it's really pixelated?
Sure. Is that via Discord, I would assume?
It should be as soon as you hit share screen and you click the screen on the second screen
Okay.
there, it says resolution at the bottom. Yeah.
Go for 720p. Sorry about that. Are you able to read all the text on the screen?
Yeah, that's much better. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah, so the process, it's pretty seamless. Hopefully get more people on board with creating safes. And then you're greeted with the usual safe interface here. So we've added a new in-safe widget to our dashboard. Here we can see we're sponsored by Gnosis Chain at the moment, with an overview of how many transactions the current safe has. So you can create up to 5 safes an hour with your wallet, and then the safe itself can relay up to 5 transactions an hour. I'm going to switch over to a different safe that has funds for the purpose of relay. This one, I already have relayed 1 transaction in the past hour, but I'm going to relay another one. So I've got a small amount of XDAI in this safe. If I create a normal transaction, sending tokens, I'm going to send from this safe to my wallet some XDAI. I'll just send a small amount for demonstration. We come to our review transaction screen, which normally beforehand you would have to pay some XDAI gas, but now we have our transactions per hour. When I submit this, I have to sign, but as you can see, I'm not paying anything here. This is just a signature request. Upon signing this, we have our transaction being successfully proposed to our services, and we are able to watch in real time the relaying occur. Here we have our status, and this transaction has been forwarded onto Gelato, which is now executing it on. And just like that, we can see that it's successfully executed already. My signature was passed on transaction. There was nothing done on our side payment-wise, and that's basically relaying in a nutshell in the user interface of the web. So with that, the feature is also available on mobile device as well. I'm going to pass over to Chris, and he's going to showcase it on mobile.
Thanks, Aaron, for the presentation of the web interface. Yeah, quick note from my side. I'm Chris, product manager at Safe, mainly responsible for the mobile. And as Aaron was mentioning, we were just have to quickly check on which thing I want to share. Just share the entire screen, go live, and we take it from there. Yeah, it's also available on mobile, and I want to quickly demonstrate to you guys how it looks like. So
And just real
having
quick, oops, sorry. Real quick, I mentioned that I think incorrectly that the campaign runs until April 13th. It started on April 13th and it runs until May 13th. Most likely it will go beyond that date, but yeah, just a quick correction there. Sorry, Chris.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for the remark. Yeah, 4 weeks of gases transaction thanks to Gnosis Gnosis Chain, and thanks for your support in that regard. Yeah, just showing the mobile application on iOS. So as you can see, I have already set up Gnosis Safe already on Gnosis Chain. I have some XDAI that I want to send. Basically checking on sending on the asset that I want to send, recipient address. I paste it from the clipboard. Then we have the recipient address, typing in an amount that we want to send. Review it. Everything looks fine. Just not checking the advanced parameters for now. Submitting and selecting then the owner key that we need. I have some already imported on the phone. And then the transaction is already queued, so quite smooth. Checking on the details, since this is a one-on-one safe, we can go directly to the execution, pressing on execute. And as you can see also, like in the web interface, right now you have the sponsored by Gnosis chain option. If you would like, you could also choose here with an owner account. But since we have the beautiful option of having it sponsored by Gnosis chain, I will go for that one, submitting it, then having the Face ID checked, transaction submitted, checking on the details, and now we just have to wait for the blockchain to process everything. So now it's executed. And as you can see in the transaction history, it's processed, and easy as that, the gasless transactions are happening on mobile. And that would be it for the mobile case. And now just want to wrap this session up shortly with I don't see my mouse cursor. So yeah, as Aaron was mentioning, we had the feature published on Thursday, and as you can see in this Tune dashboard, we are tracking the one balance method that we are using quite frequently. Already almost 14,000 transactions happening on this kind of feature with 3,300 safes engaged. And yeah, hope you had the chance to grasp some of the experience, had some insights and like the feature, and we welcome you to check out the feature if you haven't done it yet. And now we would also be open to take some questions if you have some.
Real quick, is Luis from Gelato on the call right now? Luis.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm not sure if you can hear me, but I'm here.
Yes, yeah. I just wanted to give you this chance to come and say hello and talk about Gelato's participation in the campaign and the One Balance relay system.
Yeah, sure. Thanks a lot for inviting me on, actually. And yeah, I forgot to set a reminder. That's why I came a bit late, but I got that last part still, and I actually tried out the feature myself. It's pretty cool. So yeah, I think I mean, first of all, it's really cool how the Safe team has made good usage of both Gelato's relay system and One Balance, and it truly, like, I think shows the power of this new UX that you can deliver by combining these technologies, and especially by decoupling payment for a transaction from actually sending the transaction. And I think a key part here is that, like in Ethereum, to send a transaction, you also have to pay for it. It's sort of coupled together normally. But here, what you can achieve with a smart contract wallet and a relayer is, and then a nice system like One Balance, is that you basically can let users interact with their Gnosis safes, or I should say safes nowadays. Of course, I'm still from the old days of Gnosis safe. So yeah. So but anyways, they can interact with their safes by just clicking buttons, and nothing has to be done in terms of paying for a transaction also, and monitoring it on Etherscan. And I think this is like an early example of this, but as we go, as we improve our monitoring technologies for these relay transactions and everything, eventually I think this should really, and maybe also as we improve our signing process a bit, that's maybe still a bit clunky nowadays, but eventually I could see this, rivaling with or being on par with the user experience of Web2 fintech products. And I think that's really what we're getting to here, and that's pretty exciting to see in action. And this is on Gnosis chain now with the Safe UI, but hopefully it will also go to other chains. And yeah, we're also thinking of having helping the Safe team and to build other usages of this API where basically they don't sponsor for the transactions. Not every chain is as cost effective as Gnosis chain is, right? So hopefully we can also deliver something like this to users on Ethereum and elsewhere. Where I'm sure many of you in here have used a safe before and you were wondering, damn, I don't have funds on the account that I'm signing with right now. Maybe you're on the mobile safe version. Personally, I like to keep keys on the mobile safe version, but I don't necessarily keep these keys funded. And yeah, so I think like it would be really cool if you can just pay with the assets from within the safe, right? Like I'm sure you've used the safe before and were thinking, why can't I just pay quickly with the ETH that's in my safe or with the DAI that's in my safe? And I think that would be the next thing we can build here. That's not using one balance for sponsoring transactions. That's actually giving users sort of the freedom to pay with any assets in their safe for their transactions, so pretty much any asset. And then we don't have to ask the Gnosis DAO also to sponsor everything, and I think that's also really cool. And then we can go really multi-chain with this, and every user can reap the benefits of this gasless transaction feature. And then when you have one of your keys on a mobile, it's not funded, or maybe you're on a new network that you never used, and you want to execute a transaction in your safe, you can still just go ahead, click the button, execute it. The relayer will do it for you. That's what I'm really also looking forward to, and I hope we can already maybe deliver that feature. Help the safe team to use Gelato Relay to deliver that feature maybe in May or June. Not making any promises here on timelines, but we're definitely working on it. And yeah, maybe just a very quick technical summary. Basically, what the safe team here did is just using the API that Gelato has, the Relay API, which simply lets you define a contract you want to call, the contract payload, the function payload that you want to call the contract with. And that's pretty much it. With one balance, you also get your one balance API key. You can deposit funds right now USDC on Polygon and pay for all of your transactions on any of the chains. But in the future, we will also support more chains. So you can also maybe in the future deposit XDAI on Gnosis chain, for example. And that's the Relay API part. And this is basically just a front-end API to the backend that is the Gelato network, which is a decentralized backend of relayers, node operators, whatever you want to call them, who are getting these requests and who are then reliably and in a quick sort of very high throughput manner putting them on chain. In this instance here on Gnosis chain. And yeah, One Balance is just an additional payment system that we developed at Gelato to make multi-chain payments much easier. Like I said, at the moment, for example, you can think of it as you just deposit USDC onto One Balance on Polygon, and you can pay for any transaction on any of the other chains, which is pretty amazing. And yeah, so you can combine relaying transactions, which normally works in a sync fee model with a transaction payment happening during the transaction. But with One Balance, this restriction is removed, and you can simply send a transaction, have the relayer pay for your transaction, and you reimburse the relayer via your One Balance on, for example, let's say XDAI on Gnosis chain. Yeah, and that just makes the multi-chain transaction payment world so much easier. It completely obviates the need for you to have funds on all these chains to pay for transactions, to keep them funded. All of this stuff is completely abstracted from you, and you just have to deposit into One Balance and use the API, and that's it. And from there, you can send transactions as many as you want, anywhere you want. Yeah, that's basically it. Thanks a lot for inviting me here. And if you have any questions, I'm also happy to answer them.
Yeah, I think at this point we can open it up, and if anyone has any questions, I know I certainly have some. But if you'd like to either type your question in the chat, and we can speak it out for you, or if you'd like to just unmute and talk directly with the team, then go for it.
I actually want to have a question more specifically for the Gelato. Appreciate what you guys are doing. I run community workshops with Developer DAO, and I used the starter kit for a hackathon that we did for the account abstraction. The problem was it was really difficult because it had a lot of technicalities behind certain things. Is there a simpler starter kit that you may have that might be for a simple token counter that doesn't require a lot of interface in the front end?
Are you referring to the gasless wallet SDK?
Yes, yes.
Okay, yeah, all right. So actually we built that, I mean, this is of course all using Safe and Gelato combined, and actually Safe has their own SDK. We just basically shipped our own version initially in January so that we would have something ready for Denver. But I think nowadays I would certainly point you toward the Safe Account Abstraction SDK, which actually is, you know, basically the extended development of what we started there in early January. So I can't, haven't looked recently, but maybe they already have like a lot more support there and documentation and so on for that. But for the gasless wallet, what I can say is I think we tried to make it as easy as possible. I gave a workshop on this in East Dubai. Normally you just have to use the SDK to like let a user log in with, for example, Web3 auth, and then like all the Safe deployment and interacting with the Safe via the Gelato Relay API is and one balance is all abstracted for you in the SDK. It's like should be very easy. For us, the hard part was basically, okay, if you use it and you're mint an NFT, for example, or something, and that NFT ends up in your Safe, and you then go to OpenSea, there's no way, like no good way to like have a wallet interface to see your NFT and to log into OpenSea and so on. So that's where we sort of, you know, stalled the process, and I'm sure the Safe team in their SDK will, if not already, will eventually also deliver some nice interface components to actually get a view on this. I mean, they already of course have the Safe UI, but I think they want to do more than that with the SDK.
Got it. Understood. Thank you.
No worries. I hope that was helpful, although I know I didn't quite answer the question.
No, it was okay. I kind of got what I needed from it.
I can kind of piggyback off of Billy's question. I mean, first of all, I just want to say this is super cool and it makes so much sense. It's so annoying when you go into a new chain and like you're excited to be on this other network, but like you're stuck basically, and you have to go find the faucet and jump through several hoops before you can actually get onto what you really want to get up to. So this is cool, and yeah, I just want to talk about account abstraction because it's really the topic that we're all talking around. And yeah, just like what is account abstraction for those that might not understand what it is. If someone from either the Safe team or Luis, if you want to go for it, maybe if someone from the Safe team, because there's the we already mentioned the SafeCore AA stack, the SDK. So yeah, what is account abstraction?
Yeah, I can start to give my 5 cents, and then Aaron, Luis, feel free to jump in and catch up. So account abstraction for me is like abstracting as much as possible from the infrastructure and let's say tech savvy stuff from the users, so that it can become more easily accessible. One use case is for example the gasless experience. And as we were talking about our account abstraction SDK that we have, other use cases that we implemented there is, for example, an easy on and off ramp, which is enabled via this technology, via Stripe integration that we have, and also an easier onboarding, for example, via email, not having the need for having like EOAs in place, but having like smart contracts or smart wallets as a state where we can refer to not having like an EOA and the hassle with getting private keys lost, stolen funds, etc., and having like a much more smooth onboarding experience. So that is also covered in our authentication kit within the account abstraction SDK. And that would be like a short intro for the core stuff that we are doing at Safe when it comes to account abstraction. But Aaron, Luis, feel free to jump in and add.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with all of that. Maybe like if we want to get a bit more technical, it's like you can think of it as, I think the original term account abstraction comes from, okay, normally on Ethereum you have an externally owned account, which is just like a public private key pair, right? And the idea was that on Ethereum you control this address, this account with your private key. And you see here that you have the account coupled with a private key. So the place where you store your asset is also the place that only this private key controls. The problem with that is it's like a single private key. If you lose it, you lose your assets. All of these issues, right? So account abstraction is basically removing the place or like splitting the place where you store your assets from where you store your keys, right? So that's why in a safe contract, you store your assets, you interact with protocols and so on, but you can have your key be a different like private key. A smart contract doesn't, you have one, right? So, and that key then controls this account. So this is the abstraction, right? Like you remove this private key from the place where you store the asset. And now you can have multiple private keys, you can swap them out, you can have social recovery, all these things. Yeah, that's I think like the technical sort of, I guess, history behind the word account abstraction. And let me say at this point, I think I'm a fan of Lucas's tweets here from the Safe team. I think he's right on the money there with his tweets. Like account abstraction is nowadays just a buzzword. I mean, it's just like a smart contract wallet. Like at least in our current way of like ERC-4327 and so on, all these things. It's just a smart contract wallet, and then you can do stuff with it like gasless transactions with a relayer like Gelato, a relay network like Gelato. So I think we probably should not use the word account abstraction too much, because like I said just now, the actual definition of it is quite technical and like not very useful for normal users. It should be more like something like, hey, let's use smart contract wallets. That's account abstraction already.
Yeah, I totally agree on that point. And even just the term account abstraction, yeah, for most people, I think their eyes start to gloss over. It just sounds too complicated. And, for me, the best way to understand it is by contrast with like MetaMask. So you have basically just an address there that you can send in and receive funds from. It doesn't have really much functionality outside of just being a single address, right? And with account abstraction or just smart contract wallets, there's just way more functionality and customize. You can customize the wallet and the experience for users in a much different way than a simple wallet like MetaMask. If that wasn't a fair summary, then please, I'm sure that. Cool. Yeah. Any other questions from the crowd? I personally would love to see the feature of being able to pay for gas with any token that you have in your safe. I think that would be amazing. So looking forward to that.
Yes, we're on it. We're on it, sir.
Nice. Yeah, if there aren't any further questions, then I think we'll wrap it up here to be sensitive to everyone's time. Yeah, just one last shout out. If anyone has any questions, this is your moment. If not, then Chris and Aaron, are there any upcoming events or anything you'd like to share with us to just bring our awareness to anything the Safe team is up to?
Yeah, thanks very much for having the opportunity to showcase this beautiful new feature. When it comes to updates, we are hard working on new cool stuff that we will share soonish and on our social media. You know that we are pretty active on Twitter. So yeah, keep an eye on that one. And if you have any questions, just feel free to reach out to any of our team. We will more than happy to help you out. If you're a builder or you have any feature requests, just come to us and we see together what we can do about it. So yeah, appreciate the support from the community here.
Yeah, and thanks so much for making the time and walking us through those demos. That was super helpful. And Luis, same. Is there anything upcoming for Gelato that you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, actually, I kind of lose track of stuff these days, but I think upcoming, I mean, first of all, I'm going to be at ETH Amsterdam. If anyone here is going to be there, I'm going to have a workshop there where I go into probably also how you can actually, if you're a developer, use Gelato Relay yourself to achieve something similar with a Gnosis safe or with something else. Yeah, that's it's Amsterdam, and I think until then, I mean, we just check out our Twitter at Gelato Network, and usually we tweet 3 times per day or so, and usually there's always something going on. So make sure to stay up to date with that if you want to join any of our Twitter spaces or the likes. And thanks a lot again for inviting me on here.
Of course. And thanks for making the time, Luis. And thanks everyone for attending and also making the time. Again, we'll have this event once a month. It's called Living on Chain. And we'll bring on external teams that are building a Gnosis chain to basically do a demo and teach you how to live all on chain. So stay tuned for more information about the next event upcoming in May. And we'll see you then. So thanks again, everyone.